attacks are included, that that politics will become irrational. In fact, I remember, I think this is related, there's a sentence in Hannah Arendt's book, The Human Condition, where she says there is nothing more unpolitical, even anti-political, than love. And what she means is, I mean, what Arendt means is partly that fear of the irrational entering politics, but she also means, she understands love to be a force of merging and a force of unification, that we become one in love. And that she thinks that's not only unpolitical but anti-political, because for her, and for me too, politics needs to involve a plurality, a speaking across differences. It's just that I would say that we, in order for love to be political, we have to think of a concept of love that is not of a merging into one or even finding the same, but rather a kind of experimenting with differences, and that communication of singularities, that's what love would have to be political. I mean, also in intimate relationships, I mean, I find nothing more disgusting than the notion of love is that we become one together. I find that really gross. I mean, that even in intimate relationships, it seems to me that the I guess that's beside the point, but that the it's not really that love must involve a multiplicity, this intersection of differences. I mean, differences within us, that connect, and that kind of relationship, rather than emerging in unity, which I would agree with Arendt in that regard, is anti-political. That there can't be politics in the dialogue of the one. There has to be. So, does that connect with some of the...
Ja, eine Frage wäre, ob das, was Sie eben erklärt haben, Ihre Vorstellung von einem Begriff des Politischen, der eine affektive Basis haben muss, ohne deswegen eine, wenn man so will, monochrome Identität oder eine homogene kollektive Identität konstruieren muss, geht zusammen mit einer Diskussion in dem Buch, die ich sehr wichtig und sehr beeindruckend fand, nämlich die den Begriff der Emanzipation dem der Befreiung gegenüberstellt. Ich hoffe, das ist in der deutschen Übersetzung auch so, auf Englisch ist es Emancipation and Liberation. Sie beschreiben Emanzipationsbewegungen als Bewegungen, die versuchen, sich hin zu dem zu entwickeln oder dafür zu kämpfen, dass sie das sein können, was sie sind. Das ist eine bestimmte Form von sozialen Bewegungen, die mit diesem Emanzipationsbegriff verbunden werden. Und sie plädieren aber stattdessen für einen Begriff von Befreiung, nämlich hin zu dem, wer man werden möchte. Also ihre Vorstellung von Befreiung oder ihre Vorstellung von Freiheit ist ein Begriff, der sozusagen jenseits dieser in Identitätspolitiken verhafteten Anerkennungskämpfe sind. Ich gebe zu, dass mich das unglaublich beeindruckt. Ich gebe auch zu, ich hätte wahnsinnig gerne, dass das so wäre. Habe aber einen Einwand. Also ich sage, das ist eine Art von Einwand, bei dem ich hoffe, dass Sie mich überzeugen, dass er unsinnig ist. Und das ist folgende Frage. Wenn wir uns Gesellschaften in ganz unterschiedlichen Orten der Welt anschauen, und wie Sie vielleicht wissen, oder manche hier wissen, ich bewege mich den Großteil des Jahres in der arabischen Welt oder in muslimischen Ländern, scheint mir doch der Begriff der Emanzipation, der auf die Anerkennung dessen, was man ist, zielt, noch von enormer politischer Bedeutung. Sie geben als sozusagen positives Bild von dieser Art von Befreiung, wie Sie sich vorstellen, Queer Politics, an, um zu sagen, sinnvoller wäre eigentlich eine Diskussion von Freiheiten, die genau all diese Kategorien von Geschlecht oder Homosexualität oder Heterosexualität oder Schwarz oder Weiß oder Rassenfragen aufhebt. Das finde ich als normativen Entwurf richtig und wichtig. Ich frage mich nur, ob bei den Ungleichzeitigkeiten, die wir politisch und sozial in der Welt erleben, ob das nützlich ist für bestimmte Gruppierungen und Minderheiten in Ländern, die sozusagen wirklich erst noch ums Überleben kämpfen, darin anerkannt zu werden, was sie sind. Ich würde mir wünschen, ich hätte Unrecht, aber...
No, I should also confess that it's an annoying habit I have, but my reaction is always to agree with people. You always seem, it sounds right to me. But let me start, and then maybe, and then eventually I come back to what I think. But so
I don't mind you.
Okay. No, I don't either. I guess I wanted to start back a little bit with some of what seemed to me the basic questions we were trying to address. I mean, one was that we, in talking about this concept of multitude, which had been important, let's say, from the beginning of these books, but then essentially the primary object of the second book, the one before this, this notion of the multitude we were thinking of and reading, we were mostly talking about it in terms of class and labor, but a lot of the inspiration and the thinking of it came from reading feminist theory and race theory, but that wasn't something we talked about. It seemed, I guess, it was a certain kind of hesitation I had because it seemed like I didn't want us to appear like we were, that is, if we come and say we have the answer for these discourses that are going on. So what we tried to do here rather is, I guess I found that cowardly after a while. My criticism of the second book was that it was not right not to also talk about, because if the concept of multitude makes sense to me, it has to also make sense in terms of a racial dynamic and a gender dynamic. And so what we tried to do in some ways is to read the streams in feminist theory, in race theory, that think, even if they don't use the terms, think something like the multitude. And that was part of the attempt to bring together, in a way, work that had inspired us. The second basic thing we were trying to confront was an assumption, and this is equally true in the US and in Europe and in Germany, I'm sure, a certain assumption on the left that, we'll say, assumption among certain Marxist traditions that identity politics ruined revolutionary thought. Like that there was this, that's what, and in fact, even in historical analysis, like in the 1980s even, the various forms of identity politics, not only Marxism, but revolution as a whole. So I think instead, so this was the start of this discussion you were talking about, was to say that no, in fact, revolutionary thought can only pass through identity politics. Like that's, and to try to take that as the challenge, to try to think revolution and so try to think through traditions of revolutionary feminism, of revolutionary race politics, which of course is not all feminist theory or all race politics, but a certain strain that that poses revolution as a possibility. Yet similarly, like you say, there's a division in the field of queer theory between those who understand queer as an identity category, as a kind of shorthand for LGBT, for lesbian and gay. And then there's what is actually the minor in terms of quantity, but the major in terms of the importance of their work. Those theorists in that tradition who think queer as a anti-identitarian category, not simply a shorthand for a certain homosexual identity.
Die Frage ist,
No.
Die Frage ist, wenn Sie sagen, okay, es ist dieses Konzept von einer Politik jenseits der Identitätspolitik ist ein dynamischer Prozess. Und Sie würden sagen, da gibt es sozusagen bestimmte Stufen, dann ist es ja auch eine bestimmte Form von Historisierung von dem eigenen Konzept. Vielleicht kann ich es ein Beispiel besser sagen. Wenn Sie für einen homosexuellen Jungen